In this video we're going to see how you can mount an S3 bucket as a file system on your VPS server, or not only on the VPS servers, you can mount it on your local PC also, and in this way you can go and in case you need, you can have a shared file system that you can mount it across different VPS servers and have the S3 keep your configuration files, keep your backups maybe, and keep your cluster details in there. And yeah, in this video we're going to configure everything on a VPS server, so we're gonna use an S3 from bunny.net, which right now it's offering the best prices. S3 for Bunny, it's on preview, so yeah, it's still at the beginning. And in here I've created a detailed article on this, and we're going to go and configure everything on our VPS server, and we're going to see how we can mount this S3 compatible API as a file system directly on your VPS server. And basically in here you have the article with all of these details. So the first thing that we are going to do is to see the options out there. So there are multiple options out there. JuiceFS, it's one of this. It's built in Rust, it is open source, and yeah, it has a AGPL commercial license. The other one is JuiceFS. This one it's more established. It needs a Redis database for this to function, and yeah, it has an Apache 2.0 license. And for this we're going to use the JuiceFS to configure everything, because this is more mature and this will allow you to have this share file system, for instance, in your Kubernetes clusters or Docker swarms. And yeah, the first thing that we're going to need is to have this S3 bucket. You can use any S3 buckets you want, but for this video we're going to use the Bunny S3 one, and we're going to see how we can configure the Bunny S3 with JuiceFS, and we're going to see some benchmarks and how fast it is. It has a local cache to go and create more speed for the files that are accessed more often. And let's go, and in here I have the Bunny account, and I've also created a video in the past with a Bunny review. I'm using Bunny for a CDN, for storage, for streaming, for DNS, and they have multiple things like databasing and managing containers. They're pretty cheap and you can start using them. And in here in their interface, in the storage, you see already I have one created for testing. I have another ones created for my Astro website, and in here we're gonna just go and add a storage zone in here, and we'll call it testfs, like this. We're enable the S3 compatibility. Right now you see that this feature is in closed preview, so you need to request access. I have access to this. And for the storage tier, we're gonna use the standard one. We're gonna not use the Edge SSD because we're not actually going to need this in here. And in here you will have the options to go and choose the main storage region, so you can choose between multiple regions. You have the Frankfurt, UK, Stockholm, New York, LA, Singapore, and Johannesburg, and I will choose the region that is closer to my VPS server, and this is in Frankfurt. And here you also will have the options to enable the replication for this, so I don't want to enable any replication for this. And in here you will see that you will have the price, and the price, it will be like 1 cent for a gigabyte, and you will not be charged for API requests and things like that. That's why the Bunny S3, it's pretty good add. And right now we have our S3 added in here. Okay, good. Right now you have it in here. In here you have the options to see the access details, so testfs, you have the storage zone password. In here you have the endpoint URL with the details. In here you have the location in case you want to check more details on what Bunny is offering in terms of the S3. So you can go and check it and see if it has all the things that you need. And JuiceFS is like this, and yeah, this one it's like an established options. It's high performance, it's cloud native, and it has like a distributed file system that can be configured easily on a VPS server. And in here we're gonna go and do all the configurations that are needed. And in here you have the articles. So right now we have all the details from Bunny that we're gonna go and configure this. And in here I've created an article, and option B, it is the JuiceFS. The option A0FS is not working with Bunny, but you can use it with other S3 if you want, because it needs some tags to be created in there. And yeah, the JuiceFS, it will need a Redis database for the metadata that is there, because it will split the files in chunks. And in here you see that you have the system package options to install it on the server or Docker. So I will gonna use Docker for this. And in here you see that those are pretty important for Redis, because for instance, in case something happens with your VPS server, you're gonna need the metadata from JuiceFS. So in case you are losing this, you can say bye-bye to your files that are stored in the S3 bucket, because you will not be able to go and mount them after. So you need to be careful with this, and you need to back up your use for this. And in here I've created a simple config things for Redis that we're going to use. Basically it will only be used locally to be accessed on this server. And the next thing that we're gonna do is to connect to my VPS server, and I will open the file, open remote, and I will gonna use my VPS servers that I have for this with my users and everything. And in here I have all the project and the VPS server, and in here I've created an Docker Docker apps like this. And what I'm gonna do in here, I will gonna use this interface because it's easier. So let me open the Docker apps, and in here I will create a new folder like Redis for JuiceFS, like this. And in here I will create a new file, if these things lets me, like this. I will create it with VI because this has problems. You see, I cannot right click. So I will create a compose like this, and then in the compose file we're gonna copy the details that I have in here. So this is the structure for the compose file. We're going to check it like this. So in here you have the services, and in here you'll have the image JuiceFS Redis 2 because I already tested it yesterday, command, and in here you will have the ports with this thing, it's annoying me, like this, and we're gonna use the 81 port like this. So basically what this port command it will do, it will bound the 6381 port only to be accessed locally with the 6379 port, that is the Redis one in the container. And this thing it will create the current directory in here, and it will store the Redis data. And let me copy this like this, and I will gonna insert it in here like this. I will gonna go and save this, and right now we're gonna run docker compose up -d, and this will pull the image. So I will need to run the sudo because this is an user, and right now we're gonna see that we have the docker with Redis up, docker ps like this. Okay, sudo docker ps. I need to run it, and in here you see that you have the JuiceFS Redis 2, which is running and ready to go and have our file system configured. Another thing, let me clear like this. We're gonna go and see the df-h, and in here you see that this is the file systems that I have, and we're gonna add a new one in here that we're gonna configure. And to do that, we're gonna go again and check my article. So right now Redis, it's ready to go, and we're gonna just install the JuiceFS. This is the command that we're gonna install it. So you can run with sudo like this, and it will go and install the JuiceFS. In case you don't have it, I already have it installed in here, but if you don't have it, it will go and install it. Okay, so right now JuiceFS, it's there, and if you're gonna run the JuiceFS version in here like this, you're gonna see that you have JuiceFS installed. So the next thing that we are gonna do is to go and prepare the file system details. So we're gonna run this command, and we're gonna alter it in here. So I will copy it in here, and in here you're gonna see that you have this JuiceFS format command. It will be storage like an S3, and in here you have the bucket name with your zone name. You have the access key that you're gonna use, and you'll put the zone name in here, secret key, and Redis. It will be the local host with the port that we're gonna use. So we've used the 81 for this, like this, and this is the name of the file or the directory that will store all the details. So my JuiceFS, it will be called, and let's go and populate all of these details. So I will gonna go into in here, and testfs is the bucket. I will copy first this endpoint URL that we're gonna use like this, and in here it will be testfs, your zone name testfs that we've created, and your storage password. We're gonna go and copy this to clipboard, and we're gonna put it in here like this, JuiceFS, and right now we should have all the command in here. So we're gonna clear this to be more visible. We're gonna run this command like this, and right now this formatted the file system for us, and in here you see that you have an UUID, storage type, bucket, access key, block size for this, and the details that you need. And right now we're gonna move to the next action in here. Let's see, we're gonna create a directory for this where we can store it, and you have the options to mount it. So let me go and copy these commands in there, and we're gonna again put them in here, and we're gonna go and check them. So basically in here you will have the options to go and create the directory. So I will gonna create a directory called testfs, because this is just for test. And in here, after you're creating the directory with your local VPS servers, you will have the options to mount this in the background like this with the path that we've created under the Redis options. And in here I've added a cache size, so to limit this, because otherwise it can use all of your VPS space, and this it will be loaded into the background. So I will put the 81 for Redis in here. I'll put my created file system, cache size is like this, background is like this, and right now I will just go and create this in there. So let me go and create it like this. So right now I've created a directory, and the next thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna go and put these things into the mount like this, bam. And right now it doesn't let you. We're gonna use sudo like this, because we use sudo to create the directory. We're gonna use sudo for this, and right now you have all the details in here. So you see in here that I have the testfs, that it's mount it, and right now it is waiting for us to go and put something in here like this. And if we're gonna, let's say, touch test.txt like this, it created the file for us. In here you see the details, you have the user, and if you're gonna check the S3 bucket details in here, file manager, you have my JuiceFS, and in here you have the UID and the metadata for this. And right now you can go and move some of the files that you may want in here. So yeah, you can create files, you can move files easily without a problem. So for instance, if you want to copy the project that we've created, so I will just test it for you to see. So I will copy the Docker apps Redis FS, and I will copy everything in here. Okay, it doesn't let me because again you need sudo because I'm not root. And right now you see I have the Redis GFS in here, and right now this thing can be served from here if you want to do that. This is just to demonstrate. You see you have the compose file, you have the details, and in here you see the chunks that were added like this with the metadata and everything. And right now we can go and benchmark this thing if we want. I just want to show you the benchmark, then we're gonna test it. So in here this is the command to show you the details, and JuiceFS status. In here you have the options to go and show them details and run a quick benchmark so you can see the details. So let me put the details in here. Let me change the 81 like this, and in here you see that if you are gonna run this, it will go to Redis and it will fetch you the details about this disk and the details with mount points and everything like that. And in here if you're gonna bench this, let me use the testfs, you're gonna see the speeds of these things, and this, it will take some time to go and do the benchmark. From my tests, the writing is pretty fast, the reading is not that fast, but of course if you are gonna access a file, it will move it to the cache. You can have the options to put the cache into a, let's say, directory, in case you have different disks in there to know exactly where it is. And I will just gonna let this thing run so you can see at the end what are the benchmarks for this. So right now the benchmarks were done, and in here you see that the write speeds are pretty good. It's about 374 megabytes per second. The reads are not that good, but again this was read it without the cache in the beginning. And in case you have like files that are in here and you are frequently accessing it, will move them to cache and things will be very fast at let's say the second run. And yeah, right now you mounted everything. The thing is that right now, in case you want this to be mounted when the server is rebooted, you have the options to create a service like this, like JuiceFS service in the systemd. You are just creating this and you are just going to put the execute command in here like this to start with JuiceFS. And for instance, if we are gonna run which JuiceFS, in here you will see that you have this binary in here, that it's in here, and in here you see that you have the Redis details, basically with the cache size to mount it, and then you are just gonna enable it and start it. So like this you will make things persist in case your server reboots, because right now let's go and reboot this server. So in here, if we're gonna check this, let's see if after the reboot, sudo reboot, we're gonna have the mounted file systems. I didn't tested this before, and I think the mounted file system will not be there, but you can go and mount them manually, or you can create a service like this to go and mount it easily. And let's wait for this server to open, and then I will gonna go and start again, and we're gonna see the file system that are mounted after reboot. It's important to have the file system auto mount after reboot, so that's why it's better to create that service that will handle this for you. Let's go and open remote. Z is pretty good at this. Let's see, retry. So right now the server is still starting. It will take about 1 or 2 minutes for this thing to start. I will retry it in a couple of minutes. So right now my server is up and running, and if you're gonna run df-h, you're gonna see that you will not have any file system. So that's why it's important to go and create this service like this that we're gonna mount it. And right now we're gonna just go and mount it in here to see if we still have our files after we're gonna mount the details. Let me put this thing in here, and in here 81 it was testfs, and Redis should be started already because we had the option in there to auto start. So Redis 2 it's here and it's started. Let's go and mount this like this. Sudo. It's always when you are using a user and you are not root. And right now again testfs it's here, and we are gonna go to testfs ls, and in here you see that you have all the files like this. And right now if you're gonna cut the docker compose like this, you're gonna see that you have already details with all of the things in here. So yeah, like this you're using JuiceFS to go and create a share file system on a S3 bucket. So right now nothing is stopping you from going and trying this. In case you need it, just check the JuiceFS, check S3 with Bunny to see how well it does for you. The prices are pretty good on Bunny. In case you have problems, you can drop a comment in the video. We're gonna check it and see how I can help you. Another option is to go and chat with ChatGPT or another LLM model that you have in there to help you configure this and have everything done, because basically you just go and fetch the LLM my article, and you just ask him go and configure this, make no mistake, and he will configure this for you. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. In case you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe.